There are 5 things you need to do that have been proven after thousands of marriages helped that we clearly see that bring a wife back. These 5 principles go directly against 5 negative habits that push her away. In this video, you will discover those 5 principles that will literally create a 180-degree turnaround in your marriage that gets results like these.
She looked at me. She goes, I just love you. She goes, I'm proud you're mine. I'm so happy that you're mine. And just a few short months back, she was ready to walk out of our house, walk away from this marriage. She'd already filed the papers.
My wife and I make plans for the future now. My work, the things I've been doing, have led to a big reflection on her part, for herself.
She invited me to go on her trip with the kids to the beach with her. She ended up staying here for a week or so after the vacation. Fully moved back in mid-July. Yeah, 5, yeah.
Okay, so there's physical affection and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, I mean, we're like 100% all in.
Now, before we jump into those 5 principles, there's something I have to tell you. It's not what you do, but who you are. Let me share an example. So I played soccer my whole entire life. I wanted to be a pro soccer player from the age of 5 years old to about 24 is when I started to make the transition into graduate school for psychology. Now, if you told you, which I'm assuming you don't play soccer, myself, and Lionel Messi to shoot the ball in the top corner, that's all the same action, right? But with each of us, you're going to get a different result each time with each of us because of who we are as a person. You see, I've spent thousands of hours, and Messi's probably spent 10 times or 100 times more than me in shooting a ball in the top corner. The point of this is that in the actions that you are going to take with these 5 principles, it is important to adopt an identity of someone who does it correctly. Now, you're not going to have to invest thousands of hours before you get it correct, because I will give you guiding principles and habits in order to really master that identity to have more impact on how those principles will affect the result of the marriage. I just say all this because correct action is important, and also adopting the identity. Now, I'm going to go over some identity shifting belief patterns that you can adopt to become Messi level, a pro at using these skills. As a quick example, if someone tells you, hey man, just be confident around your wife, that can mean one thing to one person and one thing to a completely different person. It's like, yeah, just be confident, but yet she's leaving you, you're a wreck, you're nervous, you don't know, maybe she's seeing someone else. How can you be confident when all that's happening? Yet confidence is one of the core foundational skills you must have that gets a lot of results from getting her back. So that being said, let's jump into the first principle. When you can finally understand that all of your behaviors and habits, or lack thereof, has led to this one key emotional need that she's not gotten over the years, and then you can use all these habits that can directly tie back into increasing that need for her, it becomes so clear to you in how to adopt certain behaviors, how to carry yourself, not just in the behaviors, but even how you speak to her, which consistently builds back that love, trust, and commitment needed to make the relationship flourish. Now, that need is emotional safety. Look, at the end of the day, relationships help us survive and thrive, right? There are deeper spiritual needs that get met, but if she's not feeling emotionally safe, what that's doing is we've evolved through thousands of years. And if a woman doesn't feel safe with the man she's with, she's thinking on a primal emotional level, this guy cannot protect me or my offspring. It is not something that most women are conscious of. She just has that feeling of disconnect, of I don't feel safe, so I'm going to remove myself from the person. It is that simple from a very first principles perspective. So each of these negative habits cause emotional disconnect and the lack of safety. The first one is inconsistency. As I'm going through each of these 5 principles, I want you to judge yourself on a score of 0 to 10 and to give yourself a total score. And then you could see from the behaviors in a good way later, I'll show you how to increase each of these skills to give yourself a full 10 out of 10 in all the 5 principles. So why does inconsistency make her lose trust? Well, first, let's really delineate between 2 types of inconsistency. There is macro inconsistency and micro inconsistency. Now, the micro one is pretty obvious. It is essentially not doing things that you'll say you'll do. These are small little things like saying, oh, I was going to take the trash out today, but then she comes home and then she saw that it wasn't taken out because you were busy. Or you go to the grocery store and she says, hey, make sure you pick up that special type of garlic that's already minced up, okay? And you come home and you bring home the wrong garlic. And then she gets all pissed off. And a lot of guys think to themselves, why is she getting mad about the smallest of things? You see, what you have to understand is that she is intuitively and subconsciously taking those small little behaviors and she's saying, oh, he's being an inconsistent man. Okay, to you, it's not a big deal. But to her, she's drawing back those little things to the larger character of who you are as a man. Now, speaking of larger character, this is where macro inconsistency comes into play. With macro inconsistency, let me tell you a story about one of the clients. So this client said he was going to start really his own business eventually, right? And he was talking about it since he got married with his wife. 15 years into the marriage, still never started the business. He was afraid of taking the risk. He was always finding excuses. Now, his wife never directly called him out saying, you promised you would do this, that you would start your own business. But one of the gifts that your woman gives you is that she sees your top potential as a man. She sees the man that you can become. And whenever you fall short of that, she feels that disconnect, okay? Because she intuitively and spiritually wants you to become the best version of yourself. That's one of the biggest gifts women give you. And so when you have these aspirations about becoming a certain man by taking risks from certain hobbies you have, from goals you set for yourself, to become the man that you know you deserve to be, and then you fall short, you make excuses, that is also inconsistency on a macro level. So what is the first principle that solves this problem? Well, it's to be a man of integrity. So how do you become a man of integrity? Well, watch this clip.
If you lie habitually about something, that's the world you come to inhabit. Now, and if you do that with enough heart, let's say, you can live in a delusion, and then your perception of the world doesn't match the world. That's like having a map of the wrong territory. That's a really good way to get lost, like seriously lost. And then you get lost like that, you get bitter, and then you get resentful, and then all the real hell starts to break out.
So what Dr. Peterson is alluding to is one of his primary rules in his main book, which is don't lie to others, but especially don't lie to yourself. At the end of the day, there's no special technique to get you to be a man of integrity. You just have to start valuing that. I would say, practically speaking, as a system, have other brothers or other people or friends hold you accountable for your goals and the things that you set. There's mastermind groups. I know our program does this. It holds men's feet to the fire. And also just say, I am an integral man, right? Have integrity on the background of your computer. Have integrity just as something that's always around you. It's hard to identify as someone who has integrity, who always tells the truth and is always consistent. And adopting that identity will be the number one thing that helps you really live through that principle. The second principle is understanding the purpose and process versus the outcome. James P. Carr says, a finite game is played for the purpose of winning. An infinite game for the purpose of continuing to play. Now, most men are stuck in playing finite games in their life. A finite game has a clear start and an end. There are rules, there are winners, there are losers. Think about football, right? Making a sell or winning an argument. The goal is to win, right? There's a hierarchy here. You might see where I'm going with this. An infinite game has no endpoint. The rules can evolve, and the goal is not to win, but to keep playing and growing. Think marriage, health, parenting, and personal growth. The goal is to sustain, adopt, and deepen. For career and status, climbing the corporate ladder just to beat a rival coworker or hit a title rather than building mastery and meaning in work. You chase promotions for the pay, raise, or recognition, not because the role aligns with the deeper purpose of who you want to become. My favorite quote of all time aligns with the infinite game. It is not what you get by achieving your goals, but who you become in the process. With wealth and materialism, comparing bank accounts to other people, your cars, your houses, keeping up with the Joneses, using wealth as this finish line. There's an obsession with winning, right? Investments rather than building sustainable financial futures for your kids and future generations. For fitness and health, it's chasing those bench PRs, right? Or getting a six pack, or I want to hit this exact goal weight, instead of thinking as lifelong vitality for yourself. It is this competition looking, am I as skinny or strong or whatever as this next guy in the gym? With a finite game, with an argument with your wife or conflict, it's about winning, right? Trying to get your point across so she can understand you and not really caring about her. It is, once I marry her, check mark, right? I mean, the number one mistake most men make is playing this finite game. Another way to say this is that they have complacency with their wife. Once they achieve this perfect life with her, why put more investment into it? Why have to go to all these dates every weekend? Why buy her flowers? Why do these things? Why go deeper with her? A lot of men will say, I just want peace, and to have it go back to the way it was. This is a fool's errand. And the reason why is because from the feminine perspective, she will always test you. Now, if we go down here, and if we zoom down into the process and purpose over outcome, what a lot of men don't understand is this idea of enmeshment and differentiation, right? Of conflict and reconciliation. This is a natural ebb and flow of any relationship. You can't have eternal times of peace as much as you would love that, okay? But there has to be this back and forth, and it's okay to have conflict to a certain degree. But what happens with a lot of couples is that the wife will create the conflict, and instead of leaning into it and growing and learning from it, a lot of men will go into retreating or dismissing that conflict. And so the wife, instead of having this ebb and flow, this dance of the relationship that is beautiful, it's a flat line for her, and she feels nothing, and therefore she wants out. So if you see in this graph here, it's not the perfect example, but as you can see, when you first met her, you didn't know her that much, right? But you started to really have this honeymoon phase. And then let's say, this is kind of out of order for some couples, but let's say you had your first fight or first disconnect, something happened, but then you guys resolved it and you guys said, I love you. And then you guys kind of went back to your own life, own routines. She was still in your life, but you weren't like wanting to see her every single day, which is a natural form of that connection to disconnection. And then you guys went long enough where you're like, we're together for so long. I love you. I want to get married. And for a lot of people, the 7-year slump happens. There's all their time intervals that really cause this disconnect. The point I'm trying to make with all this is that in your masculine, you just want peace. You want stability. So in moments of conflict, natural conflict that's supposed to occur, where she wants you to become a better man and learn from these things to grow, to then reconnect to her, because you are so focused on going back towards that peace, you're not using those opportunities of conflict to learn about her, to learn about yourself, and to grow within the relationship, because you are playing this finite game. I've had peace before. We got married. She's committed. Why should I invest and grow, right? Because it's painful. Now, leading into the process mindset with purpose, it automatically fixes this whole entire issue because you recognize the game. The game is that she will never, ever be at a point where she's completely happy, blissful, and everything is perfect. You will have moments of that, but there will always be disconnect because you are human. You are sinful. The reason why this bypasses the outcome problem using process and purpose is because when you lean into this infinite game with your wife, you lean into conflict. You feel confident about it. But not only that, her tests and conflict, you see them as opportunities to deepen the relationship and have more intimacy. Now, getting to this process-oriented mindset is what autopilot fixes the majority of issues with the guys in our program. When they can let go of needing her, which is the next principle I'll go into deeper, when they can get away from that outcome, when they can step into like, I just want to be a better man for the sake of being a better man. They set goals for themselves. They start putting their energy in themselves and stop putting her on a pedestal. What occurs is this natural tendency to want to go into the conflict, to grow from it. And they're less reactive to her tests, which makes her then feel incredibly safe with you. The third negative habit that makes her feel unsafe, that I would say 99% of men have within our program, is neediness. Now, why is neediness so repulsive to a woman? And why does it make her feel unsafe?
See, a lot of men are overly nice and needy without realizing it. They confuse politeness with putting her on a pedestal. When you do that, she unconsciously sees you as weak. You must be a leader in her eyes, a man she looks up to and not down to. This means that you make your purpose your first priority. Know your goals and values and stick to them. She is a blessing to you, yes, an added bonus to your already abundant life. You love and respect her and you are grateful for her, but you're not making your entire world around her. This means you should not always be changing your plans for her. It means you should not do nice things for her with a hidden agenda to receive something in return, like her love and affection. She is very sharp-minded and she can sense this and it repulses her. You need to say goodbye to that Mr. Nice Guy persona and become the high-value man that she needs, plain and simple.
And then we're going to address where it comes from. When a man is needy or dependent on his wife, she lacks respect. She needs to be with a man that is his own man despite her, okay? Now, I'm not talking financially or physically or psychologically. I'm talking about emotionally. And the best way to tell that you're needy, the obsessiveness, right? The trying to fix things all the time, being extremely just falling apart if she would leave you. Some men get to the point of even questioning if they want to continue living if she's not there. Now, where it comes from is a lot of different places for different men. I'll speak to my story. In one of my first relationships where I was extremely needy, I became anxiously attached because she was more avoidant, and everything is relative. So if someone's more avoidant, I know a lot of the wives are in the program, you become more anxious by comparison, okay? It all goes back to your parents. My mother was not as physically affectionate, and I didn't have an emotional, strong attachment with her. She was more cold and distant. She did her best, and I've forgiven her for that, and we have a great relationship now. But it did affect me in my early relationship because when I finally got that love, that like exuberant, oh my God, they call it love bombing, but just affection and you're the best, and oh my God, I see you as a God. It was like a drug. And then I got attached to that. Another way a lot of men will get attached is that they are afraid of losing her. And if you're afraid of losing a woman, what naturally happens is that you'll start sacrificing pieces of yourself to make her happy. You'll give up friends, hobbies, things that you used to do that you loved and made you who you were. You'll gain weight. You'll do all this stuff because you think you're following the blueprint to make her happy. But at the end of the day, happy wife, happy life is absolute bullshit. You must fill your own cup first. Now, the solution to all of this is letting go. Another way to say this is to become outcome independent. Now, focusing on the process of the previous principle will help with this as well. But letting go is more of a advanced concept for a lot of guys to understand. So let me start off by sharing this quote from the book, Letting Go, highly recommended by Dr. David Hawkins. We have the opportunity to choose whether we want to hang on or to let go of an emotional upset. We can look at the cost of hanging on to them. Do we want to pay the price? Are we willing to accept the feelings? we can look at the benefits of letting go of them. The choice we will make will determine our future. What kind of future do we want? Will we choose to be healed, or will we become one of the walking wounded? What he's referring to here, I'm going to get on my little soapbox here, philosophically speaking. I believe that God is supposed to teach you lessons on this earth. And one of those lessons is to grow and become the best version of yourself so you can serve the community and give back, especially in your masculine paradigm as a man, to understand your gifts and to go through challenges to become the best version of yourself, and then teach other men through your lessons, whatever skills that you acquire. Now, whenever you become attached to her, you are giving away pieces of yourself, like I said before. And so what God will do is he'll rip away whatever you are attached to, whatever you are doing that is sacrificing who you are as a man. Along the way, you lost who you were. When she met you, you were in your prime. Every single guy I talked to, they were in the prime of their life when they met their wife. And when they first started falling in love with her, they didn't fully attach to her yet. She was a good addition to your life, but you were already full. And when you get the ability to let go of her, to set your own goals as a man, your own purpose, what happens is things like this.
I didn't hear the answers that I wanted to. So I was done. I came back, I had fully let go. Until that point, I thought I had let go, but I didn't know what letting go fully meant until I actually did it. So I let go. I became single in my mind. I took down all her photos, pictures, changed my posture completely, even told her I'm ready for the divorce. And I was doing it for myself, genuinely, not because of her.
This ties into letting go. And as you know, it's more of an advanced concept because it's so conceptual in nature. And a lot of the men, when they first come into the program, they hear the idea of letting go and they're completely confused by the idea. So I'm always trying to learn more from someone who has understood this concept. It's really hard to teach with words. So let me ask you, like, what was going on in your mind and how you felt about her and the relationship when you knew you let go?
Yeah. When I knew I let go, I knew that, I had to prioritize myself. And fast forward, when Shobi said she wanted to reconcile after I had let go, was when I truly realized that I had fully let go. Because when she wanted to reconcile, I didn't. And that's when I realized, okay, this is what fully letting go means. All this time I thought I had let go, but it was never 100%. I think 100% letting go is when your partner wants back and you don't. I think until that, you've not truly fully let go.
Resentment is drinking poison, hoping she will die. Yeah, this is exactly what most men do when the marriage is on rocky ground. You're keeping this mental scorecard. I did the dishes 3 times this week and she didn't even notice. She never initiates intimacy anymore, but I'm supposed to keep trying. I work over 60 to 70 hours a week and she complains that I don't help her enough in the home. Here's a brutal truth. Your resentment, your holding on to anger, is more toxic to your marriage than whatever she did to hurt you. There's a reason why resentment kills attraction and emotional safety so fast. When you hold on to that pain, you become passive aggressive. You make snide comments instead of direct communication. You are not upholding respect, and she feels it. She's intuitive. She knows you're holding on to those things. You become emotionally unavailable. You're building walls to protect yourself from the hurt, the bitterness, and then so she does the same. She can feel, even if you put on this front that you're happier with her, or you're trying to work on things, she can feel that anger and resentment. I was going to go to a whole framework around this, but this weekend, there was a rooftop event in my building, and I ran into another male therapist, which never happens. And he was showing people his Hinge profile because he was recently single. I was a dating coach back in the day, right? So I'm going through it, and oh my God, it was awful photos. Started giving him advice, and then I learned out he's recently single from a 9-year marriage. I don't know how I constantly run into guys where they're in that situation, but I eventually get to talking to him one-on-one. Then I ask him what happened. Man, what he told me, my heart broke. He said she became a different person. And I said, well, of course she did. 9 years of marriage, you're going to grow, you're going to change. He goes, no. She was someone that she hid forever until the final moments in which she left me. She is the classic super avoidant type. I was like, well, tell me more. He said, well, yeah, nothing came up in the marriage. Everything was fine. She gave me all this love. And then after 9 years, she finally learned that she was avoidant. And then she just became a different person. And then she left me for another person. And when he was saying this, I could literally see the veins popping out of his neck. The amount of unbridled rage that he was holding inside of himself. I wasn't in the mood to test or challenge, but I did want to help him before I left. So I pulled him aside before I left. I said, look, man, I understand that she messed you up. She hurt you. Now I can't go into, I gave him my Instagram so he get in the YouTube channel so he can check things out himself. If he wants to go deeper, I'm not going to force a guy to help himself. We'll talk about that in the last principle. But what I did tell him was this: if you don't heal all that rage, that anger, find a way to get it out. If you don't stop that bleeding. You're going to bleed on the next person, the next relationship. I implored him to take time to forgive, to learn why she really did that, and to take responsibility for all of that. I pleaded for him to learn to heal that. As a therapist, he should know this, right? But the thing is whether he got back with his wife in the future or the next woman, if he held on to all that energy of that rage, because I know she hurt you. I know she's done things to mess you up. I know she's broken promises. I know she's lied to you. I know she's done these things that have hurt you deeply, but you must learn to forgive, not for her. Forgiveness is not for her. It is for you to become healed and at peace, to be good again, learn how to be happy. Otherwise, you will repeat the same process in the next relationship. Now, our program has a massive library of forgiveness exercises. Our coaches specialize in this. If you want the opportunity to join our program, you can set up a free marriage strategy call by clicking the link down below. Make sure you're fully invested, okay, before you set that call. This last principle is shared last because it's one of the hardest ones for the guys to adopt. This is the one where I get pushback from clients. I even have doctors on my Instagram, people reacting to videos I create saying that it's not correct. Now, before I go into the framework, I want to share that story again with the guy, because more than ever, I saw how this comes up. When I started sharing things with him, what I would have told him if I was in the mood to really go deep and help with him is that he was making excuses, that he was taking zero responsibility for himself, that it was all her fault. Because the story he shared with me was, she had this dormant personality style or the attachment style that then was activated randomly. And then that's what caused her to want to leave the relationship, as if he had no say in any of it. And the thing is with this is I know that his identity as a therapist of all things, that he's healed. He's the one who has all the tools. So how could he be responsible for where things ended up? But yet, in talking to someone else he knew there deeply about this, he put her on a pedestal. And I know for a fact if I went deeper with him, I could point out all the things in this video that he probably did across the relationship. But at the end of the day, you know what? When it comes to whose fault it is, there's no objective fact, is there? It is all opinion. It is all narrative. It is all subjective. So let me just go through and create two scenarios for you. One in which you take full responsibility and one in which you don't. And let's see the outcome of those. So let's start with the story that it is her fault. Okay. So let's say with this client, he says, you know what? She should have never cheated on me and left me. It's all her fault. And these are all the reasons that he stated. It was her trauma. It was her attachment style, her avoidant personality, and her mental issues that she's never processed. Okay. So we have to ask ourselves, when you take that perspective, that it is her fault and not yours, you're going to adopt new core beliefs, and your perspective or perception around women and marriage and relationship is going to change. I'm not saying he adopted these core beliefs, but a lot of men do in the situation of, well, all women are going to cheat. All women are liars. You can't trust people. And let me ask you, if you adopted those core beliefs, which is a belief, is a mental framework of multiple thoughts and other beliefs, and is associated with emotions, it's packaged together. Do you think adopting those three beliefs are going to be more helpful or hurtful in the next relationship, or if she comes back? So if he adopted the other perspective and he said to himself, what if it was 100% my responsibility that I led to this? What if there were signs that she showed that she had an avoidant personality, that she shared her trauma, that maybe she shared a past relationship where she did cheat? But he thought probably to himself, you know what? I'm a therapist. I can heal her. I can fix her. I'm different. He knew about her avoidant personality style. He's a therapist. Of course he knows that. And he could see in little patterns when she avoids conflict, when she shuts down. And I guarantee you, there are so many things he did that made her feel unsafe. He probably broke her trust. He probably lied to her. He probably didn't have integrity. I talked to him deeply about a couple of things, and a lot of these patterns were showing up. Now, before showing you the new core beliefs that come from taking full responsibility, let's really go into the idea why this is really hard for so many men. See, your ego, it thrives on being right. It feels emotionally safe when you are right. As much as she thrives on emotional safety and needs it, you do too. We all do. We want to feel safe and stable. You want a woman who is loyal. You want a woman who's consistent. You want a woman that is so devoted to you and respects you and appreciates you. That makes you feel safe at the end of the day. And as much as it hurts, when you say, I led to this, I did this, what that allows you to do is it allows you to then change your behavior, to change your software, your perceptions and your actions, which then create new outcomes in the future in same situations. So what would be the new core beliefs that he could adopt if he took full responsibility? Women just wanted to be emotionally safe. He could look back at all the history of his relationship and look at individual points leading all across it where he made her feel unsafe, where he wasn't the man anymore, where he relied on her too much. He put her on a pedestal. You also adopt the belief that I influence where my relationships go. If it is your responsibility for the bad, then it's also your responsibility for the good, that you can create that. And then there are aspects of me that create relationships. And also he would look at himself and say, there are aspects of myself that do create negative relationships or negative patterns. Maybe it stems from my parents or whatever it is. Any resistance that a man has towards adopting responsibility That is the work. That is the hard part that majority of men don't do. But men who come into our program, who take that responsibility, who learn from other guys, like, and are extremely called out on our calls and by the coaches. And it hurts in the moment, but then they have that growth. And that growth leads her to become curious. And when she becomes curious, she starts to come back. I highly implore you to try something else, to try something new, okay? If you want additional help from our team, like I said before, click the link down below to fill out a call. Watch this video right here. It's a really unique and specific video that I think deserves a lot more views because of the value that's put into it. Appreciate you. See you in the next one.